Hi friends, welcome back. So I just picked out a bunch of papers that I'm going to be putting into these journals, and now I need to sort through them. So I kind of just wanted to quickly, well, I don't know how quick this is going to be, but hopefully somewhat quick. I just wanted to walk you through how I'm going to go about sorting these out and, kind of like putting them into piles and organizing them before I put them into the journals. I grabbed a whole variety of pages, a bunch of envelopes and painty papers, line papers, coffee dyed papers, book pages, packing paper. Okay, so I just organized them into two piles, so larger pages and then smaller bits. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna fold this one long ways, and we'll make two long pages, but what I'm gonna do is fold them up, and then these will just be little pocket pages. So I'll put the holes here, and then we'll have a skinny pocket. Okay, and then I have some really pretty book pages that I also wanna use. So I think I'm gonna make these little flip out pages because I don't wanna cut them down. They're just so pretty. And that way the recipient can, they can flip them out and then they can use the entire page to journal on. Or if they wanted to, they could just rip this off and then use part of the page in their journaling. I think I'll make some pockets out of this one also. So two tall, skinny pocket pages. And then maybe we'll just have some smaller lined papers. I'll just rip these in half. These are some vintage book pages. They're very old and somewhat crumbly, but they are, they're nice to paint on and journal on and do whatever. So this is just packing paper, and I've been doing this with a lot of the packing paper in my collection lately, where I crumple it up like really small and then uncrumple it and just put some paints on it, and it creates this really cool like kind of crackly look. I don't really know what to call that, but love that. Okay, so now I want to take all these papers, and what I'm going to do is separate them into piles by journal. So I'll make a pile for this journal and a pile for this journal, and we'll just see how many papers we have and see if we need to add any more. We could definitely add a lot more pages to this. I'm just going to probably grab some more, mostly plain papers. I think I do want these journals to be more on the blank side. I went a little crazy. I thought we could add some more color to this. It just was feeling a little bit bland for me. I grabbed some plain solid color sheets of scrapbook paper. I had some scrapbook paper little bits, this vintage map from an atlas, some coffee dyed ledger paper, this legal pad paper, and then I was like, let's just have some fun, and I grabbed some more paper bags, some mini coin envelopes. I guess this is like handmade paper. I didn't make this. I'm not even sure where this came from exactly. And then I grabbed some little tea bags because there's so many cute things that you can do with tea bags. Just be crazy. Let's have some fun. Let's go wild with the tea bags. So for these scrapbook papers, we can just make them regular pages, or we could make them pockets. I love pockets. I do have a lot of pockets here though, so maybe we'll just make some of these like regular pages. I'm just gonna make two smaller pages. I like the idea of adding a lot of variation in size in this journal, just like the size of the papers. I think I will do some pockets for this page. Okay, I think we have enough pages. So now I'm just gonna make sure everything is trimmed down to the correct size. And I'm gonna kind of just eyeball things. And I also don't mind when pages are hanging out just a little bit, either from the top or out of the side here. That's just my personal preference, is just kind of being a little laxy-daisy about it. So, okay, actually this page is pretty much the same size as the cover, so I can actually use this to measure the rest of my pages. I'm not really going to do much embellishing on this journal. I kind of just, like I said earlier, I just want to leave it blank, let you make all of the creative decisions. I'm just going to leave that little flip there. I'll just fold that in like that, because why not? Okay, so now that I have all of my pages trimmed down to size, all I'm gonna do is punch my holes in each of the pages. So this is something that's pretty tedious. You can put on some music or a podcast in the background while you do this. I have this piece of cardstock. This is what I used to punch the holes in the actual journal cover. So all I'll do is decide exactly where I want the papers to be in the journal and just line it up to this guide and punch my holes. Okay, so now that I have all of my holes punched, what I want to do is go through each of the pages and separate them into different piles. I think I'm gonna do based on color, so that way I can try and do like every couple page as a color page. And I'm gonna put colorful pages in one pile, or pages that just have more stuff going on. And then another pile will be just more plain pages, or pages with just text on it. And now within each of these piles, now I'm going to separate smaller or wonkier pieces like envelopes and cards and stuff, and separate them from the like normal sized pages. Okay, so I have 4 piles here, and I'll basically try and alternate between all 4 of these different piles, and I'll just keep kind of moving them around until I get an order that I really like. Okay, so now that I kind of have an order that I like, I still may switch some things around a little bit. I'm gonna go in with the smaller pages and just kind of stick them in between where I think they make sense. Okay, so I have all of the pages in order, and this page was just throwing me off. I think it's throwing the whole vibe off. I really don't actually like the color of this at all. I know I have a lot of grungier pages in here, and I do like grungy, but I don't know why, but for some reason, this kind of combination of this muted green and dusty pink color is really throwing me, so I have to do away with this one. And I replaced it with this like painty paper that I had in my stash, and so I just decided I was going to do like a half page and then have it be a fold out. So I just like the colors of this a lot better, and it makes me happier, so I'm going to replace that one with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all these papers actually in the journal, and I'll flip through it and kind of see how I like it, and I can move things around from there if I feel like I need to. Okay, so I can't remember what was the last thing that I filmed because I've honestly been filming this video for days. So I don't know what's going on right now, but I know I did do these off camera. I made these precious little charms, and they are removable. They attach to the tall flashcards that I put in here. So I thought that would be a cute idea just to add a little bit of whimsy. Also, you can use the flashcards as like a little bookmark. I also put all the pages into the rings, and I really do want to leave this pretty blank. The only other thing that I'm thinking I want to do at this point is I think I want to make some little library card pockets, and I don't want to attach them to the inside of the front cover, but I just wanted to make them and clip them in here. So I'm going to go ahead and make these free floating pockets. So since I want the pocket itself to be 4.5 inches, and I am going to make some flips that will get glued on the back side of it, I want to make this piece probably at least 5.5 inches. And then what I'm going to do is score a line 1/2 inch in on each side. Okay, so what I want to do next is I just want to figure out how tall I want the pocket to be. Let's see, I feel like that's probably good. I'm just eyeballing this. And then I don't necessarily need all of this at the top here, so I'm just going to take a little bit off. This is all just personal preference, this part. And then I do want to keep these flaps here because they're going to wrap around to the back, but I'm going to cut these pieces off because we don't need those. I'm just trimming it down to the fold. And then they'll wrap around like that, and then create a little pocket. Round these corners off also. Actually, I changed my mind that I don't want the flaps to go around to the back, just because this is going to be a free floating pocket. So if they're around to the back, then you'll be able to see those. I'm trying to decide if I want to do any kind of like sewing or anything though. Here's the little pockets that I made. So all I did was just sew around the perimeter of the actual pocket. And then I made these cute little mini pockets that I sewed on the front of them with just some little floral book pages. So all I have to do is add some glue to these flaps and glue them down, and they'll be done. I have a bunch of this double-sided tape and I hardly ever use it, so I'm just gonna use this. Awesome, so one pocket can go in this one, and then another one will go in this one. And again, I'm gonna do a flip through when I'm all done putting everything in, but I'll probably just clip it on somewhere, or maybe on the front. Anyway, we'll see. I love how they turned out. I think they're so adorable. I am going to do a really quick flip through just so you can see each one of them. They both have 44 papers in them. I didn't put that much stuff in them. I made a couple little tags, and there's some like little flashcards in there and stuff, which you'll see when I flip through it. But they both have the same amount of stuff. It just varies in appearance a little bit and the different colors and stuff. So yeah, both of the journals are 5.5 inches by about 8.5. And then, as I said before, the rings are 2-inch rings, but the actual journal spine itself is about 1 inch. Both of the journals have these really precious removable charms. They're just attached to the flashcard in the middle there. And all you have to do is just unclip it like that, and you can take them off, and I actually probably will take them off for the flip through just so they're not clanking around. Okay, so this is the first journal. This is the one that has the little patchwork mushroom on the front. The other one does not have a mushroom, just has flowers. So that's how you can distinguish between the two covers. As I said before, I made this little library card pocket, and I just have it clipped on with a bulldog clip on the front. I didn't want to glue it down because I want this journal to be as customizable as possible, so you can glue it down to the inside of the cover here if you want to, but I just wanted it to be a free floating pocket. You can even glue it onto one of the other pages. And then inside the pockets, I have some little specimen card tags. I have this vintage flash card. And then in the mini pocket, I have a tag and some tickets. And then on this first page here, I just have clipped on a little paper flower and then this scrap piece of painty paper. And then this is a little flip out page. So you can put some pictures here or some secret journaling. This was a piece that I already had previously cut, and so it wasn't big enough to fit 2 holes. So I just made a longer piece of this holographic cardstock and attached it. And I just thought it added a really cute little element, and then I was able to utilize this piece of paper as a page. And then flipping it over, I have this point envelope, and I made this flip up tag. So again, you can do some little journaling in there, whatever you like. So there are a few different pockets that I made throughout the journal, but I didn't close them in just in case, you know, again, I wanted this to be customizable. So just in case you didn't want to utilize them as a pocket, you could just, you know, tear off this extra flap and use it in your journaling, or you can close it up yourself and, you know, do whatever you like with it. So I just kept that open. A lot of the pages are also flip outs, just to give you some extra space for journaling. And I do have a couple painty papers in the journal. So this is one that I did myself. Some vintage, like construction type paper. This is some really cool crinkly packing paper. A junk mail envelope. Some more cardstock. This is a vintage playing card. And I will flip through the other journal without me talking. I'm just kind of walking you through this just to give you a little bit of an explanation of certain pages. Again, this is one of the little flip up pages that you can make into a pocket. This is packing paper that I put some paint on. Vintage ledger paper. Craft paper, more cardstock. This is some sort of handmade paper. This is from a vintage atlas. Coffee stained tracing paper. And actually, when I coffee stained this paper, I also put in a little bit of it was like a shimmery eyeshadow pigment, and I just mixed it in with the coffee. So it's not very noticeable, but if you hold the paper up to the light, you can see there's just like a slight shimmery sheen to it. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then this is that vintage flash card that has a little eyelet at the top, and you can attach your charm to that. This is a paper bag. And it has the bottom still attached, so you could even glue this and make it a little tuck spot. This is a vintage book page. This is quite fragile, this one, so you could reinforce the holes if you wanted to. This is a little tea bag. These are actually really cool to use in your crafting. You can paint them and write on them, use them to collage. Another coin envelope that has a little window in it. And then this is some more painty paper that I did myself. Craft paper, and then this is the inside of the back cover. So again, everything is very blank. Do with this what you like. You can paint on it, write on it, add pictures, whatever your heart desires. So something that I did want to make note of is that there is a little indentation in the cardboard here on the inside of the back cover. It doesn't go all the way through the other side. It's just this top layer that got punched through. That's just how the cardboard was. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. This is a junky junk journal, but if that bothers you, then I just wanted you to be well aware of that. By the time I have this video up, these journals should be listed in my shop. I'm not exactly sure when I'll be listing them, or if by the time I post this video, if they're already sold out. I will list all of the information for them in the description, and I'll have links for them. And yeah, if you have any questions about them, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'm wishing you all a very beautiful day. I'm sending you so much love and big hugs, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye.